So I'll just give you some background now on this Best Language Therapy Programme. It's based on constructivist, which is a long word. It makes me sound very technical with my friends who aren't speech therapists. It just means that the child is a little linguist. They're figuring out from the input how to put language together. And I'll be glad to talk to anybody if he wants some more references on that. So children learn strings of language directly from the input. All accounts of inflection assume one way or another that children generate across forms such as plays, walks, forms. They get a verb plus S rule. So they get these ideas. I've heard that pattern a lot. So, you hear this in young babies, don't you? They learn shoe, and then it's mummy's shoe, daddy's shoe, teddy's shoe. They get this pivot schema of just, I'll just change one bit. So they've learned to pattern, and then they start to see if that pattern's, if they can push it, and then they go, that's wrong, that must be a different exception. So it's learnt on that. Children learning lexical strings like he's playing, he's running directly from the input, and then they start to have lexically specific schema. So you'll see in the examples I give that we keep some things the same and we vary one of the components. So the child very clearly is given opportunities to hear the same pattern, the same language construction, but one thing is changed so they can see the difference. And interestingly, although this is an expressive language package, unlike the Derbyshire, we're not working on understanding first. It's not a criteria that they understand. And in fact, lots of the children weren't able to demonstrate any understanding of even single word nouns. So show me the cup, show me the spoon, couldn't do any of that. We put them straight into this package because we believe that children learn the meaning from observing real actions and start to abstract the lexical knowledge from whole sentences. Most experiment, we've got these big databases now on the internet where people have recorded children learning and interacting with their parents right from birth, and we've got lots of corpuses as they're called, and they've shown that children repeat from recently produced things that adults have said to them. They might just do the end bit, but they repeat, and then they start to abstract, and they repeat back and they experiment. We think that children use their general intelligence. That's why children with learning difficulties find it difficult, because they're slower. Their processing power is slower. And they learn from the language that they receive. And then we think they have these patterns, these proformas that they start to gain. So we aim it at children with little or no expressive language. They don't have anything at all. And depressingly, lots of children I see aged nearly 3, so 2, 8, right through to 6 can come with no expressive language to clinic. It's not unusual. And if they don't have behaviour problems, they seem to be invisible. They seem to be completely invisible. Now, lots of the Pakistani heritage and Bengali heritage, it's pragmatically very, very rude to say anything unless you're spoken to by an adult. So lots of the kids look wonderfully well behaved. They have a clue what's going on, and it's a real shame that they're referred so late. So there's big pieces of work that we're trying to do about getting people referred early and not waiting to see if they acquire English, but if then getting them assessed right from the start. I think I've already said that. We use toys. Now I'm going to show you some pictures, but these are just later on when we start to match the pictures with the actions. We use real toys. The target sentences are said by the therapist or the assistant at exactly the same time as the toys doing the action. As a reward, we usually get the kids doing the action and we say it, and then they take turns, and that's really good for turn taking, particularly in groups. So one child, if they describe what's happening, they get to do the action next time. I thought that this would be extremely boring for the children, because I'm used to, millions of stickers and reinforcement games and stuff. And because it's at the child's level of learning, they're absolutely wonderful at it. And you'll see the little boy in the video clip. He's just brilliant. He just sits and does the whole thing, and he really loves it. The crucial thing is it's not repetition. They don't repeat what they've just heard. They listen to a structure and then they have a go at another structure. And we don't intend them to get it right in this session, but over a series of sessions. And the number of sessions that we're doing at the moment, we do baseline assessments as we go along, but we do 16 half-hour to 45-minute sessions before we'd expect any changes, although we're finding that children are changing before then. And as I said, we just change one element. Now you'll see from these pictures, this is jumping, we've got dolls and things that do this, so we have big bags drawstring bags with set 1, set 2 written on them. And we've actually drawn on a beard on the man because all of the kids say boy for man and boy, and so we've started to say, but he's got a beard. And actually lots of Pakistani dads have beards anyway, so it's kind of really appropriate. Although interestingly, in gender agreement, beards are female. So there you go, every language. So here we've got Guri Chalmani Pi, so girl jump doing, Jenna Chalmana Pia, Guda, which is Teddy, Guda Chalmana Pia, and Janani Chalmani Pi. So I think, in contrast to Arabic, I think R is male and E is female. And if anyone does speak Mirpuri, I apologise to my assassination of the language, although the kids think it's funny. So we would do that set where we would say those things and act them out, and the child would say nothing and just watch. And then we'd do the action, or they'd do the action with them, we'd just say what's happening. And because the same language structure is activated in their linguistic system, they say more, and eventually they start to put sentences together, and they hear the same people again and again and again, so they start to really get the hang of that. So here you've got Guri Turni Pi, Jena Turna Pia, Guda Turna Pia, and Janani Turna Pi. And someone said to me, one of my students said, I think lady's sexist. And I said, well, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to be, but every child in Rochdale knows woman as lady. If you said woman, they wouldn't know what it was. So Janani, lady is the nearest translation I could come up with. Then we've got a 3-part utterance, Jena Gadja Karni Pi, Pia, Jena Lodikana Pia, Jena Kela Kana Pia, and Jena Malta Kana Pia. I'm reading these out because when you see the video, you'll see that both my assistant and the child code switch for some of the items, and she doesn't bat an eyelid, because you could say carrot, you could say Jenna carrot kana pia, or you could say man carrot kana pia, and that would be perfectly acceptable in the community. In fact, people don't even notice. And when I say to kids, English, that's English, they go, no, they think you're mad. It's just what everybody says. And here's Guda doing Guda Gajatona Pia, washing the carrots, and Guda Kela Tona Pia, and Guda Save Tona Pia. Now, it's been really hard getting some of the equipment, and you'll see some of the equipment's completely way out of scale, but the kids don't care. I think the common errors that we see in both English and Mirpuri children, they omit the agent, the subject to the sentence, and I think because they think, well, you can see it, why should I add it? But actually when you say to them, who is it, they don't know and they aren't able to tell me. So it's not normal ellipsis, it's not that they're just like an adult just saying, just saying she's running. They just really don't know, but they don't seem to notice. So there's something not very salient about the beginnings of utterances. They omit auxiliary verbs, so they is, are, p, pr, they just miss off completely. They're just like, why do you want that detail? And if you say to them, that's it, they nod, so they know it's there, but they don't seem to notice when they omit it. They use non-verbal gestures for verbs, so they'll say things like, Mura. And you'll go, yeah. What's he doing? Who is it? What's he doing? And they gradually start to replace those with verbal output, but it seems quite a natural human thing that gestures are appropriate replacements for verbs. And as I say, they've got the gender correct, but the lexical item wrong. So boy and man, they'll use boy, or mura for Jenna, and they'll say girl for lady or woman, and they'll say in the Mirpuri kids say kuri for Janani. And we have to keep talking about them being big, and the toys, the ladies this big and the this big, trying to make it really obvious. And syntactic errors, where there are word order differences, are exceptionally rare. And when people say to me, he mixes up his English, but that's because his other language is a different order, I say, no. Children, normally developing children, even the ones when they code switch, do not get the word order wrong for the language that they have chosen to speak for that sentence. So this idea of interference, for this community in particular, is nonsense. They can swap the words, but the words would be in the same order as the Mirpuri sentence, or the English sentence. So they might say, the Janani's cooking the chaval, but they would never say, the Janani chaval is cooking. That would be disordered, and I'd be very worried about that child, and the same the other way around. So the things that English children appear to do that Pakistani heritage children seem to do. English kids omit determiners, You can't omit determiners in mirror because there aren't any. And the omit the present progressive, you can't omit the present progressive in mirror because it's obligatory and it's gender inflected. So you can't say run, you've got to say running plus female or running plus male. The Mirpri speakers use male gender agreements for everybody, for females as well, so you might see they overgeneralise that across the verb and the auxiliary. They're code switch nouns and they're code switch verbs, but that's fine.